The moment I stepped onto the bridge of the SS Odyssey, I knew this mission would redefine my understanding of the galaxy. Even after years of exploring uncharted star systems, there was a tension in the air that no protocol could explain. The stars outside the viewport shimmered like liquid silver, and the distant hum of the engines felt almost alive, as if the ship itself sensed the gravity of what lay ahead. We were approaching the planet Cytherea Prime, home of the enigmatic alien race known as the Siltheri. Known for their crystalline cities and telepathic abilities, the Siltheri had avoided contact with humanity for decades. Intelligence reports suggested a shift in their behavior, a possible willingness to negotiate. For me, though, it wasn't about diplomacy. Deep down, I feared it might be something personal. I hadn't seen her in over a decade. The arrival. Our shuttle pierced Cytherea's atmosphere with a hiss, the world unfolding below like a living kaleidoscope. The cities gleamed, translucent towers rising like jagged diamonds from lush green valleys. The air shimmered with energy, a subtle resonance that made my skin tingle. This was her domain, and I was walking back into a memory I'd tried to bury. "Commander Vera, this is Ambassador Karen, my first officer," Talia announced. "They've cleared us for landing, but they're requesting a private audience. Alone." My pulse quickened. A private audience with the Siltheri Queen wasn't standard procedure. It was unprecedented. We landed on a floating platform above the central city, crystalline spires reflecting the lavender glow of the twin suns. A corridor of light stretched before us, leading to a chamber unlike anything I'd ever seen. The walls were alive, pulsating with a soft, radiant energy. And then she appeared, the Siltheri Queen, tall, elegant, and otherworldly, with eyes that shimmered like liquid starlight. Her presence was commanding, yet there was something familiar, something that stopped me mid-step. My breath caught. Her gaze met mine, and in that instant, time fractured. Recognition. "You." Her voice was both melodic and unsettling, resonating inside my mind. "It can't be." I'm Karen." I managed, my throat dry. "Commander of the SS Odyssey." She took a step closer, her crystalline form radiating light that seemed almost too bright to look at directly. And then she said the words I had never expected. "You're him." The memories came flooding back. Decades ago, I had crash-landed on Cytherea Prime during a covert exploratory mission. I had been taken prisoner, and she, then a princess, not a queen, had spared my life. I had thought I'd left her behind forever, a fleeting connection in a galaxy that never paused for anyone. But now, seeing her, I realized the galaxy had waited, and she had not forgotten. "Karen, why are you here?" Her voice trembled with emotion I hadn't anticipated. "We need your help," I said cautiously. "The human colonies on the outer rim, they're under attack. We can't stop it alone. Your fleet could turn the tide." She studied me, her gaze piercing into memories I hadn't dared to share. "Finally," she said. "You were reckless then, risking everything to save one life. Still reckless, I see. But perhaps that is why I should listen." The past revisited. She led me to a chamber of holographic maps, each star system marked with subtle glows and pulses. As she spoke, I realized she remembered every detail of our past encounter. "You came to Cytherea Prime without permission. You broke every protocol," she said softly, almost nostalgically. "And yet, you didn't hesitate to save the villagers from the rogue asteroid storm. You risked your crew, your mission. And yet here you are, asking for more." "I didn't come for recognition," I said. "I came because they need you. Because we need you." Her fingers brushed the holographic maps, and I watched as star systems lit up like constellations in motion. She was weighing choices that could reshape the galaxy. "I remember you, Karen," she said finally, turning to face me fully. "I remember your courage, your defiance, and your heart." Her recognition of me was more than a memory, it was a test. The dilemma. The Queen's advisors, crystalline beings who communicated in resonant tones, began discussing the political ramifications. Inviting humans into Silthery space could destabilize centuries of isolationist policy. "Your people will be targets," one of them warned. "If you intervene, both our civilizations could suffer." She remained silent, her eyes fixed on me. I could feel her weighing the personal against the political, her loyalty to her people versus the bond we shared, a bond forged in the fires of past danger. "Why should I help them?" she asked quietly. "Why should I trust humans again?" I stepped closer, risking protocol and decorum, because some of us are still worth saving, and because some of us still remember you. For the first time, I saw doubt in her eyes. The Queen had been absolute, unyielding. But now, recognition had softened the steel of her resolve. She was considering a path that could change everything. A secret revealed. She led me to the inner sanctum of her palace, a place forbidden to outsiders. There, suspended in a pool of radiant energy, was a device, an artifact older than recorded history, humming with potential. "This," she said, "is the heart of Zytheria. It can amplify our abilities across light years. But it comes at a cost. Using it for war could destroy everything we've built." I stared at it, understanding the stakes. "Then we must use it wisely. Not for conquest, but for defense." She looked at me, the weight of millennia in her gaze. "Do you trust me, Karen?" "More than anyone," I said, though my heart thundered. For the first time, she smiled, a smile that bridged decades of separation and suspicion. "The battle begins." Zytheria's fleet mobilized under her command, crystalline ships gliding silently into the void. I watched as her forces, unlike anything humanity had ever seen, took positions around the outer colonies. The enemy, a coalition of rogue warlords exploiting human expansion, struck first. Their ships were fast, heavily armed, but unprepared for the Silthery. I piloted the Odyssey alongside them, coordinating attacks. The Queen's fleet moved as one, fluid and deadly, a symphony of light and energy. And yet, in the midst of battle, I saw her focus shift, her eyes searching for me in the chaos. Recognition had not faded, it had deepened, tethering us across the void. The turning point. The rogue fleet deployed a massive weapon, a collapsing star cannon designed to obliterate entire systems. The colonies were in its path. "Karen," she said, her voice clear in the comms, "we cannot allow this. Trust me." Together, we devised a daring plan. The Odyssey would distract the cannon, while the heart of Zytheria amplified her fleet's energy shields. Time seemed to stretch, each second a lifetime. I maneuvered into the firing path, dodging beams that could melt steel in an instant. The Queen's power surged, bending light and energy, creating a protective barrier around the colonies. For a moment, I thought we were doomed. And then, silence. The cannon had been neutralized. The colonies were safe. The enemy fleet retreated, broken and demoralized. Aftermath: the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. The human colonies owed their survival to an alien race that had once been thought indifferent to our existence. In the aftermath, the Queen and I met privately again. The chamber was quiet, the soft hum of the city outside the only sound. "You recognized me?" I said. "Even after all these years, you remembered." "I did," she said, her crystalline form glowing softly. "And that recognition saved lives." Perhaps it saved more than lives. Perhaps it saved hope. I realized then that recognition was more than memory. It was the catalyst for change. The Queen's decision, born of something deeply personal, had shifted the course of history. "You could have ignored us," I said. "But you didn't." "No," she said, her gaze steady. "I couldn't."
Not you.
Not the moment we shared. Some connections transcend time, even across light years. We stood together, two beings from different worlds, bound by history, respect, and something more profound. A new alliance over the following weeks. Treaties were signed, fleets coordinated, and the first real human-Silt'Ree alliance took form. Trade routes opened, cultural exchanges began, and the galaxy's map was redrawn. And yet, for me, the most important change was personal. The Queen had chosen to act, not out of duty alone, but because she had recognized me, and through that recognition, chose trust, courage, and hope. I stayed on Zytheria Prime for a time, learning their ways, understanding their philosophy, and occasionally sharing stories of humanity. Each day, our bond deepened, a bridge between species that had once seemed impossible. Months passed on Zytheria Prime, and the bond between humans and Silt'Ree grew stronger. The colonies once under threat flourished under the protection of the combined fleets. Trade and knowledge flowed like starlight across the galaxy. And yet, amidst all this progress, I often found myself walking alone through the violet-lit streets of the crystalline city, reflecting on the chain of events that had brought us here. The Queen walked beside me one evening, her presence as commanding as ever, but softened by warmth. "Karen," she said, her voice echoing faintly in the crystalline corridors, "you understand now why recognition matters. It's not just memory, it is trust, courage, and the choice to act when the world demands it." I nodded. "I see that now." It saved lives and maybe even civilizations. She smiled, and for the first time, I sensed vulnerability in her perfection. "I acted not because of duty alone, but because of what I remembered in you. That moment years ago, it changed me, just as it changed the course of history." Her words struck me deeply. All my training, my missions, my battles, they all felt like pieces of a puzzle that had finally come together. Recognition, she reminded me, had the power to rewrite destinies. The farewell. Despite the successes, I knew my mission would not end here. Humanity still needed me. I would return to the outer colonies, to my crew, to the life I had built among the stars. But leaving Zytheria Prime meant leaving her. And leaving her meant leaving a part of myself. The Queen led me to the central observatory, where the twin suns were setting. The crystalline structures refracted the fading light into 1,000 prismatic rays. She placed her hand over mine, a gesture that conveyed more than words ever could. "Karen, the galaxy is vast, and time is fleeting," she said. "But know this, recognition is eternal. You will always be remembered here by me." "I'll carry that with me," I replied, "no matter where I go or what comes next." And with that, we embraced, not just two beings from different worlds, but two souls whose paths had converged against impossible odds. A galaxy transformed. The Odyssey lifted from Zytheria Prime, cutting through the lavender skies as the twin suns disappeared below the horizon. From orbit, the planet looked like a jewel suspended in the void, a beacon of hope and alliance. Reports came in quickly. Former adversaries were reconsidering their positions. The Silt'Ree's intervention had shifted the galactic balance of power. Where once there was fear and isolation, there was now collaboration, dialogue, and cautious optimism. I reflected on the chain of events. A single recognition, the Queen remembering me after years of separation, had catalyzed an unprecedented alliance. It had prevented disaster, fostered peace, and changed the lives of billions. Even in the darkest reaches of space, connection mattered. Even in the cold vastness of the universe, acknowledgement and trust could illuminate a path forward. The promise. Weeks later, a message arrived from Cytherea Prime. The Queen had sent it personally, a holographic projection shimmering in the cabin of the Odyssey. "Karen," she said, her eyes bright with emotion. "The galaxy may continue to challenge us. But remember this: courage, recognition, and trust are forces stronger than any weapon. Should you ever return, you will not come as a guest, but as a partner." Her words were a promise, a bridge between two civilizations, a symbol of hope, and a reminder that even in a universe full of conflict and chaos, the choices we make can ripple across stars. As I stood on the bridge, watching Cytherea Prime shrink behind us, I felt a sense of purpose unlike any I had known. The galaxy was immense, full of dangers and wonders, but now I carried a beacon of light within me, a reminder that recognition, the act of seeing and remembering someone fully, could change everything. And as the Odyssey leapt into hyperspace, streaking past distant stars, I knew one thing for certain: this was only the beginning. Some connections, once forged, never fade. And some decisions, once made, can alter the fate of entire worlds.